All right, this is like take number 5. I'm not good at talking to cameras. If I'm working on something like mixing or recording something, and somebody's filming, that's fine, because I'm doing something. But this is just weird stuff. Okay, so originally when I got into this program, my idea, because I have a criminal justice background, criminal justice and criminal behavior, I was going to study looking at incarceration and recidivism rates around the world. Because, like, in the United States, we have a punitive system, so it's there to punish, and that's pretty much it. And in places like Denmark, it's to rehabilitate. So here in the U.S., our recidivism rate is anywhere between 70 and 80%. In Denmark, it's between 17 and 20%. They feel over there that the punishment of being locked up is punishment enough. The people have lost their freedom, that's the punishment. So they basically teach them how to uh, take care of themselves, and be a positive when they're released instead of a negative, positive to society. So they basically have like apartments over there. You can find videos online, but the prison is basically they have an apartment. They do their own laundry. They cook their own food. They are given some money to go to the store in there and buy stuff. So initially, I was going to study um, and try and come up with like a lowest common denominator of what would work globally as far as reducing recidivism rates from incarceration. So, and I think that's a good area to study. I think it's beneficial to society throughout the world. Um, but last semester, in the leadership class, I remember reading the book, which I have right here. I always buy the book. I don't like online books because a lot of times I don't have enough time to boot up my computer or pull my phone out and try and log in and do all that. I like having the book, so I always buy one when I can. But I was reading that, and in one section they were talking about negative leadership characteristics or tactics or whatever. And in the book they said that there hasn't been much study done on that. And because I studied the criminal justice stuff, with a lot of the psychological things with serial killers and criminals and all that, that kind of sparked something. So I was like, there hasn't been much study on negative leadership characteristics. Maybe I should look into that. Because then I started looking at it, okay, you can see that on a global standpoint, like with guys like Hitler and Mussolini and Stalin, Khmer Rouge, all that stuff. And how, especially in Hitler's case, he got the people to rally behind him because of the way Germany was treated after World War One and all that stuff. But he got those people to rally behind him and really think that he was a great leader, as opposed to Stalin, who pretty much tortured everybody. And then I started looking at it from like a cult standpoint. Cult leaders like Manson, Davidians, Koresh, Heaven's Gate, Jones, how those guys, through negative leadership tactics and characteristics, get people to voluntarily give them all their possessions, all their money, disassociate themselves from family and friends, and basically isolate themselves from the rest of the world just to be with this leader. Um, it's just fascinating. And so then stepping back a little bit farther, I thought there's a lot of the same characteristics with serial killers. Guys like Bundy, who would charm people and have them get in the car with him and get killed. Gacy was the same way, taking people back to his house. Probably the best example would be Boston Strangler. What's his name? DeSalvo, where this fascinates me. So even though he was killing people throughout Boston, and it was all over the news, it was all over TV, it was all over radio, newspapers, and all that. Everybody knew that there was a serial killer out there, and he would still talk himself into people's women's houses and apartments to kill them. It's just amazing. So, so my train of thought now in my area of study is negative leadership characteristics, why they work. What are the characteristics that these leaders have that they basically use to abuse people? What do they have that does that? And then also, if you look at it from a scientific standpoint, is it cause and effect? So what do they have that has these people follow them? But also, what kind of characteristics do those people have that allow them to be manipulated like that? Because you can have a family of 5 people, and 1 or 2 will join this cult and disassociate everything else, but then the other 3 in that family are like, what are you doing? That's crazy. You shouldn't be doing that. So, there's that too to think about. But yeah, I don't know if this is doing what I'm supposed to do for this, but that's what my study is. Is cool to me. That's what excites me about this, is why do negative leadership tactics work? Because like if you have a bad boss at work or a bad leader and they degrade you and they make you feel like crap, why do you still do what they tell you to do? Why don't you report them? Because you're scared of whatever. Anyway, that's what I'm going to study. Hopefully I can come up with some meaningful research for both academics or academia and psychology. It's the two are tied together as far as I'm concerned, as far as this goes, because what is the psychology of negative leadership? So I guess that's it. I hope everybody has a good semester and a good summer. Bye.